Hey there, how's it going? It's 4/11/2011, and it's just a few minutes before midnight. Um, yeah, I sound so great right now, don't I? It's always like right before I'm about to film a video, my allergies to pollen start to kick up. And they're like, you will not record a video because we don't want you to. Um, but I just popped a couple of Benadryls. Great for my liver! Um, But this is a really important video to me. I haven't been making videos as of late. I've been so busy. And generally, these are times where I like to be recording more about my life because lots of things are happening. And it's easy to lose track of whatnot. But this video is really important to me because I generally talk about some of the more overarching things and themes that transgender people face. And I kind of want to vie off of that and just kind of talk about my own experiences, which I kind of haven't really been talking about per se. I do talk about, oh, I've got feelings for person A and person B, but not person C, and just it just turns into a little bit of a gossip video journal, of a journal. And that's not really where I want to take things all the time. But at the same time, I'm not always going to make something profound. Um, but this one I think may be profound. So make sure you're seated and listening, because it's really important. So for people who are in my life, I really want you to listen. And for people who aren't, just take these things into consideration. You may go through these things, and they might be things that you share with. And in any case, friends, allies, people in my life, people not in my life on a daily basis. So this past couple of days, or basically Saturday night, I was attacked by a couple of cars. Or let me clarify. It was basically a situation where I had to leave my friend's dorm, and on my way home, leaving, of course, this was just like bad news all the way through. I left at roughly 2:45 in the morning, Saturday night, and it's just bad news written all over it. And it was just a very not so good night, and I had to leave. So on my way home, my phone battery died, which I knew was like a lot of trouble. And for me, like, as somebody who's transgendered, here's one thing I want you to consider. As somebody who's transgendered, I carry my phone on me all the time. Not because, it's something that I can't rip myself away from, because if I could just put my phone away for a while, that would be awesome. But, like, there are times where I'm, like, waiting for a bus, for instance, especially with public transit, and there are just creepy people, creepy men, usually, trying to make advances at me. And I'll just have my phone, and I'll just pretend I'm texting, or I actually will be texting. And it's a way for me to, like, not have to make eye contact or talk. But for the most part, it's a tool for safety, and I've come up with, like, methods with which, if there was an emergency, this is what I would do. This is how I'd make a call in a realistic situation. Because in a realistic situation where I'm being attacked, I can't just scroll through and remove the key guard and press 911 and then, like, hold the phone and defend myself. I've thought of ways of maneuvering my phone in a way that I can actually get assistance and still be, like, defending myself. But and about that, like, the very fact that I've had to even think about that and practice this, just, I mean, it's something that I wish I didn't have to live with, but I do, and I think about it. And for the phone that I use, basically I would open up the phone, and it's got a really good speakerphone. Dial 911 with the speakerphone on, and the phone opened, basically set right near me. And then basically just, like, defending myself and then speaking to the speakerphone. So that way I'm able to multitask and keep my hands free. So that's just, like, a little thing that I've practiced before, and I know that I can accomplish. But in any case, on my way home, just like within 4 blocks, basically, it's like 7 blocks to my house, but within the 4 blocks out of the university, I had been attacked by one group of people in a car, and I defended myself, and um, and it was just really irksome because I knew that there was going to be trouble when and where, and I tried to like get my timing off in terms of when this car would be coming by, maybe blend in with like the background, but it was just not really possible. And so here's the situation: like I'm here, like wearing a dress, and it's at night, and that's generally like a big no-no. It's just like having a dress on. Like this is something I need men to really fucking understand. Is if you are wearing a dress or a skirt and you're out at night, men think that they have the permission and the right to just go ahead and assault or harass a woman, and think that, well, because she's out late at night, like she's ripe for the picking, and like I can use force, like I can do things that I normally wouldn't be able to do. While you may not be able, maybe you don't necessarily think of doing that, there are lots of men who think of doing that, and that is a huge, huge problem. And that's basically what happened with the first car. It was just one guy. And in that fight, like I basically held it down, and I made sure that I was in a spot where, if I needed to run, the ground decline was in my advantage, and also too that I was in like the middle of the road space under a light, and had other things around me to grab. That's basically what I did, and I basically had a bunch of rocks, tied in the sleeve of a sweater, and kind of held them and tied down the end. It doesn't take that long to do, and I've been able to prepare in advance because, immediately I'm thinking like the most important things for me for safety is like fluidity of motion. Can I defend myself? Am I inhibited by the things I'm carrying and wearing? And trying to make sure that I'm not. And then also to basically like the guy came up and just was relentless in terms of trying to get me in his car. And what I did was just like I basically like was fighting, and I ended up getting hit in the knee and in the ankle, but it really wasn't too much I could do. I generally like to keep a close proximity when combating, and basically just like clocked him in the head with these rocks in the sleeves. And first I was thinking, well, maybe he'd go down, but that's not true. He didn't go down at all. He did get phased, and that's when he came back and hit me in the knee and my ankle, and it hurt. But I was able to fend him off and just basically like whack him again, and um, at this point, like got him down on the ground, and sorry, like my voice is like all mucus is all congesting right here where all the noise action is happening, and I basically go for the kick to the knees and kick to the crotch, and then I run, and I'm running, and I'm running, and I'm running. By the time I decide like, do I go left into this back road where there's no lights, but there's another way of getting to my house. It's a little bit longer. Again, there's no lights, but it's not on the main road. Or do I go on the main road, which is shorter, and basically like also face the risk of like encountering more cars. And I chose to do that because I thought, well, it's a shorter distance, and if I can get to my house quicker, at least I have like the ability to draw attention if something does happen, instead of like being dragged off in a corner. Also, too, my cell phone battery died. Another huge like no-no. So that was frustrating because at that point, like, there's nowhere, no one I can go and call within the area. So I made my way into the main road, and that's when a car basically uh, like followed me and drove over the sidewalk and drove into the parking lot that I was walking across. And at that point, like, I just decided to um, maneuver my way around and make sure that they didn't have a gun. And basically, like, there's just a bunch of scenarios. If they've got a gun, like, you're just basically at the mercy of that situation. But the closer you get in those situations, um, the more danger, the more accuracy that someone has with a gun. So you want to keep your distance, is what I've learned. Um, so at this point, like, um, one guy starts running after me. Another guy starts driving the car. At this point, I just start to weave and run and run and run. And basically, if it wasn't for my ability to run really fast and really long distances, um, I would have been in trouble. But I was able to outrun them. Um, and at this point, like, I heard police sirens, and then I just didn't go back. I just kept going. And I made sure no one was following me. And at this point, I was a block and a half away from my house. And I just decided to just go to my house and just, like, jump in the shower and go to sleep and take some Benadryl and some aspirin. But it was incredibly crazy and terrible. And there's just some things that I feel like people don't consider that I go through on a daily basis. For one thing, like, my safety is also equated to my ability to pass. So if I've got like 5 o'clock shadow action going on and my facial hair is growing back, well, then people will just attack me and have harassed me before because I look like this violation to them. But on the other side, if I'm passing, then now I experience like misogyny, and I experience so it's like there's no happy medium at all. It's just like, which area do I fight on? Do I fight here or do I fight there? But in both cases, they're both horrific and terrible. And it's like, there's some things that I have to take into consideration. Okay, so like, people, like, I want you to listen. If I stay over at a place and I don't have a razor, okay, and I've got like stubbles on my face, and I've got a dress on, because that's the only outfit I have. Like, tell me, like, how would that happen? Like, how would you take that in your own life if you were in that position? People would be staring at you, people would be harassing you, people would be mocking you, gawking you, making you feel bad. So that's one thing to take into consideration. And then also too, like, just like all the different levels of, like, some people will, if you're a woman walking out late at night, they'll just assume that you're a sex worker or whatnot. And in any case, like, your rights are basically denied once it's late at night, especially on a Saturday night. Like, these are things that people live with. These are things that I face, like, my safety is compromised in so many different situations. So, like, at times it's like people understand why I go the extra mile when it comes to looking a certain way. It's because, like, it depends. Like, there's a certain point where my safety is like a lot easier to manage. And even just that morning, Saturday morning, as I was heading up to this festival to help coordinate it, I already had like 20 cars within a block distance, like, honking at me and like catcalling me, and it's like, it's just terrible. There's just, like, this is like shit that needs to be addressed, and this is something I want people to really think about every single day at some point, and like, ask, like, what am I doing to make this disappear and go away? What am I doing to address this? So it's like, as a trans woman, there's just so many things I face, and it's just super aggravating and super tiresome. And it's like, um, I have to be emotionally, physically strong every single day and confront so much. And I'm not necessarily trying to draw pity, but what I'm trying to address here is just like challenging these norms of oppression, of violence, of assault, of like wrongs that need to go and be corrected and need to be addressed, because I shouldn't have to go out at like and carry a razor with me all the time just to know that I have to shave my face for one thing. I have to maintain this very finite, very specific level of femininity, such that I'm not too pleasing to the eye that men can harass me. And then on the other end, where I don't pass as a woman and I get harassed that way, it's just like there's no place to be, and that's really frustrating. And for me, that's the bullshit that I deal with every single day. Um, and it's not just, Saturday night, but it's like, or Saturday morning, but it's like whenever I'm in public transit, um, just waiting for the bus, and there's like this one guy that's always there, or there's always the group of people that are always like looking at me, always men, and it's just like on the way to work in the morning, I always get catcalled, and it's like, it's just tiresome bullshit. And for me, like, one of the psychological things that I deal with is just like, again, my 5 o'clock shadow, my face. I'm just like, do I pass here? And I'm like trying to adjust my makeup, and I'm very finicky about it. It's not because I'm trying to be a perfectionist about how I look. It's because, like, I'm ready to defend myself on certain levels. And it's just like, I'm tired. I'm really, really tired. And that's what I deal with every single day on different degrees. And it's like being back in grade school again and dealing with bullying, but except that like on this level, it's like sometimes even more onto a different extreme. And just like bullying, there's no regulation, there's no like laws in order to protect people, especially trans women, in regards to like I'm like watching a video. I'm watching a video on I think dailymotion.com. And like the video that always comes up is a ad for the new Mortal Kombat game. And it's like Scorpion versus, I can't remember her name, but it's like, it's supposed to be funny as he burns her to death. And there's like all these scenes of like violence towards women, and it's comedic and it's funny and it's humorous, and it's like, it's not funny at all, and it's a bullshit, and it needs to be addressed, and I'm tired of this bullshit every single day. And I know that's not going to just magically disappear, but I need to just say what I have to say right now, because I'm tired and I'm frustrated and I'm sick of this shit. And this is the number one reason why I have trouble getting close to men, in any capacity. It's the reason why I just don't really have a high opinion of men at all. And it's like, I'd like to, but there's nothing for me to grab. There's nothing for me to hold on to. So that's my spiel, and I really want you all to think about that. Just like that level of like safety here, and then there's danger. There's lots of danger. There's a really thin layers of safety. And then there's danger again. And it's just need you all to think about that for me. Thanks for listening, and thanks for watching.